Alright, so today is more about SOHCAHTOA, but really it's about CHOSHA-COW. CHOSHA-COW, not cow like C-O-W. And the reason for that is because instead of SOHCAHTOA, we're going to switch some things around, okay? Now secant and cosecant and cotangent are the things that we're talking about today, and these are called reciprocal trig functions because they're based from the flips of cosine, sine, and tangent. Okay? Now, for secant, we're going to go 1 over cosine of theta. For cotangent, we're going to go 1 over tangent of theta. And for cosecant, we're going to go 1 over sine of theta. And remember, theta is just our x, really our degrees. Okay? Now, if you remember that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, well then secant, being its reciprocal, is just hypotenuse over adjacent. It's as simple as that. For cotangent, same. Remember, tangent is opposite over adjacent, so the reciprocal would be adjacent over opposite. Okay? 1 over sine, well, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so its reciprocal is hypotenuse over opposite. Okay? Now, remember, we can't have 0 in the denominator. If you try and go in your calculator and you go 1 over 0 or whatever over 0, it's going to be undefined. It's going to say cannot divide by 0. So, the domain, the numbers we can plug in other words, is all real numbers except the numbers that make the denominator equal to 0. Okay? We'll kind of see that as we go here. You're going to want your Trig 8 notes because you need your unit circle to do some of this stuff when it says exact values. Exact values are the fractions from the unit circle, and I'm going to give you this unit circle again when we take this quiz. So from there, I look at the unit circle. Cosecant of 60 degrees is 1 over sine of 60 degrees. Now that may not make a lot of sense, but if you think about it as the reciprocal of sine, well, let's look at, first of all, cosecant again is sine. The way that I remember this is I look at the middle letter. Cosecant has an S in the middle, S is for sine. Secant does not have an S in the middle, so it's cosine. And cotangent, well, that's just tangent. Hopefully you can remember that. But to remember which is which of these, look at the middle letter. That's the reciprocal that we need. So for this, 1 over sine of 60 is 1 over, well, sine of 60. Look at your unit circle. At 60 degrees, sine is the y value. It's square root of 3 over 2. So 1 over the square root of 3 over 2. And to solve that, it's really confusing. So instead, let's just think about it as the reciprocal of sine. So if sine of 60 is square root of 3 over 2, then cosecant of 60 is 2 over the square root of 3. We just flip it, right? Now here's the problem. We can't have that in the bottom. So remember what we got to do is that square root of 3 over square root of 3 thing. And you get 2 square roots of 3 over 3. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the answer. For cotangent of 45, so instead of thinking of it as 1 over tangent of 45, which can be a little confusing, just find what the tangent is at 45. Now, what is tangent? Tangent is the y over the x. Okay? So at 45 degrees, it's square root of 2 over 2 over square root of 2 over 2. Right? So sine, the y value is square root of 2 over 2 divided by the square root of 2 over 2. And if you remember, we've been working on this a lot. To divide fractions, you keep it, change it, flip it. And what happens here? Well, the 2's cancel, the square roots of 2 cancel, and you just get 1. Well, of course you do, because square root of 2 over 2 divided by itself would be 1 to begin with, right? So I did those two for you. I want you to try the following 4 on your own. So press pause a second, go through, try and see if you can solve those on your own. All right, secant again, go up above, is 1 over cosine, so I got to take the cosine at 60 degrees, so 1/2 right here according to my unit circle, and just flip it. 2 over 1. Well, that reduces to 2. Simple as that. Okay. Secant at 30, again, is the flip of cosine of 30. Cosine of 30 is square root of 3 over 2, the x value. So I'm going to flip that around, 2 over square root of 3. And remember, we did that over here already, so I got to do that square root of 3 over square root of 3 thing. 2 square roots of 3 over 3 is the answer there. Cotangent of 30, so this one's going to work a little different from the cotangent we did earlier. Cotangent again is y over x, so 1/2 over, oh, I'm sorry, I totally messed that up. Cotangent, tangent, I messed that up over here. This is supposed to be x over y, and they just happen to be the same amount. If tangent is y over x, then cotangent is x over y. And the x value at 30 is square root of 3 over 2. The y value at 30 is 1/2, and we're going to keep it, change it, flip it. Multiply right across, so 2 square roots of 3 over 2, and those cancel, and I just get simply square root of 3. Notice none of these are decimals. When I say I want exact values, I don't want decimals. I want exact values, which are written as fractions that I can reduce as much as possible. Cosecant of 45 degrees is 1 over sine. So let's find the sine value at 45 degrees, which is square root of 2 over 2, and just flip it. 2 over the square root of 2. Again, I can't have that on bottom, so I do this little thing, and I get 2 square roots of 2 over square root of 4, which is 2. And these cancel each other out, and I get square root of 2. The way I have taught this in the past, I'm going to show you, this is going to freak you out a little bit, is I've just taken 1 over it, and then keep it, change it, flipper it, 1 over it, 1 over it, 1 over it, 1 over it. Look how much work it took me to do it that way, though. Look how much work it takes me to do it that way. If I just think of them as reciprocals of the other function, so sine, and then flip that value, and just reduce it, it's a lot easier, okay? All right, let's look down an example. 2. Now I want to use technology, which means, yes, you may use a calculator. Round to the nearest hundredth means 2 decimal places. Okay, so when I want to find the cosecant of 160, it's as simple as going 1 over sine of 60. Your calculator needs to make sure that, because you see this little symbol here, hopefully you know that means degrees. So your calculator here should be in degrees. Okay? So if I go 1 over sine 60 in my calculator, I literally get 1.15. Try it out. Try it in your calculator. 1 divided by sine 60. If you don't get this, you need to go to mode, which is up at the top of the calculator. Make sure that you're in degrees, and we're going to change that in a minute. We're going to go to radians down here. But to go to degrees, and then just go 1 divided by sine 60. It's that easy. Okay? So similarly, if I go to like find cotangent of 55, I'm just going to go 1 over tangent 55. Plug it into my calculator, and I get 0.70, again, to 2 decimal places. Okay? Now for B, it's even easier to find, well, the secant of theta given cosine. Now back up above again, we said that secant and cosine are reciprocals. So if I give you cosine, to find secant, it's just the reciprocal, which means flip it. And that's it. That's all I got to do. Really, it's 1 over that, but I don't even have to think like that. It's just a flip. Okay? You guys press pause, try C, E, and F, and come back and check it out. Alright, for C and F, I'm going to do this real easy. Sine is the reciprocal of cosecant because that little s in there, so I just flip it. 8 over 15. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, so I just flip it. 16 over 9. I don't even need you to reduce that and tell me it's 1 7/9. Just leave it like that. Secant of 45 is 1 over. Again, go up top. Secant is the flip of cosine, so cosine of 45. Plug that in my calculator, I get 1.41, all done. Okay? Now, down at the bottom here, these again, we're going to use technology, but I need to make sure I'm in radians. Above I was in degrees because look, there's degree signs on these problems. But here, you see there's nothing with degrees. In fact, they're in pies. Pies is radians. So, I'm going to do the same kind of thing, except for I'm going to be in radians, and I'm just going to plug it in. Cotangent is 1 over tangent of pi over 3. Plug that into your calculator and you should get 0.58. If you didn't, then you're probably still in degrees. Go to mode, change it to radians. You're going to have to make sure you know which is which, whether you change it to degrees or radians. And again, it's in degrees when you see degrees. It's in radians when you see pi, okay? And you get 0.58. For secant of -1, it's 1 over cosine of -1. Plug it into your calculator, you should get 1.85. And it's that easy. You guys try the next 4. Press pause, try the next 4, come back and check your answers. Okay, you can see that I set up all the problems. Now I'm just going to plug them into my calculator here. I get -1.00. 1 divided by cosine of pi over 5 is 1.24. 1 divided by tangent of pi. Well, tangent of pi is 0. Because at pi, which by the way, if we go back to this unit circle is right here, tangent is y over x. So 0 divided by -1 is 0. So here, tangent of pi is 0. And 1 divided by 0, well, we said all the way at the top, I can't do that. I can't have 0 in my denominator. So this is how I get an undefined for an answer. If you want to write the word out, you can do that as well. Last problem, 1 over sine 2 is 1.10, and I'm done. Your homework is page 766 out of the book, numbers 1 through 28 all. I'm going to take a picture of that and I'm going to post it to Google Classroom today if you weren't here, so you can check it out there. Otherwise, you'll be in class today, you'll take a picture with your Chromebook, your phone, whatever you need to do to get the problems done that you do not finish in class today. Have a good day.